Hey, my friends, and welcome to another edition of Spencer TV from the beautiful Pacific Northwest, Mason County, Washington. Darkness and wind outside of my studio windows, and they're promising thunder showers tomorrow, which will be nice because the trees are thirsty for rain. Very, very warm spell right now. Heat wave actually hit 90 degrees today. It's just been weird weather the last few weeks since we've moved here. It's like we brought the heat with us from California or something. But we're looking forward to some much needed rain tomorrow, and it'll be nice. The trees are drooping, the forests are drooping, they're hungry or thirsty for water, so hopefully that's coming. This is a story that's making headlines all over the country tonight, and it happened not too far away from our home. In fact, my son, Bob, and Sarah heard the plane crash. I mean, how's that for eerie? They didn't even know what they were hearing, but she said it sounded like the earth was being ripped open or something, like a big, deep rumble. And it turns out it was a plane crashing. A passenger plane crashed on an island in Puget Sound tonight, not long after a suspect conducted an unauthorized takeoff from SeaTac Airport. That's the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, which is about 90 minutes from our house or so. And where it crashed, I mean, as the crow flies, it's very, very close. Now, preliminary information says that a mechanic stole a Horizon Air Q400, and the crash occurred because the person was doing stunts in the air or lack of flying skills. We are being told tonight that the guy was allegedly suicidal. But you see this plane doing like weird maneuvers and stuff. It was a prop plane. And it was an Horizon Air, and it was one of the smaller passenger planes. Okay, it's a Q400, so it's not like a 777 or anything, but it's still, when you see it in the air, a very eerie sight because it is this big passenger plane. Airport officials confirmed via social media that no passengers were aboard the plane. They also said that operations at the airport had resumed after being temporarily halted. The unauthorized pilot was a suicidal male, as they're calling him, the sheriff's department said. Some unconfirmed reports on social media said he was believed to be an airline mechanic. We don't know a whole lot about the individual as of right now on Spencer TV. The male is confirmed a suicidal male, acted alone, 29-year-old Pierce County resident. We are working background on him now, said the sheriff's department, shortly before 10 o'clock Pacific time. That was about 90 minutes ago. Around 9:15 p.m. tonight, Alaska Airlines tweeted, "We are aware of an incident involving an unauthorized takeoff of a Horizon Air Q400. We believe there are no passengers on board. More information as we learn more." Early reports indicated the suspect was speaking to air traffic controllers. The FAA issued a message soon after the takeoff. "We can't confirm anything at this time," they said. "We're trying to get accurate information about what is actually going on. And without confirming anything, a stolen aircraft would be a security issue." The FAA is not a security agency, although we work closely with government agencies on security issues. Tower Audio identified the suspect as Rich. Authorities reportedly tried to intercept the plane with an F-15 aircraft. They were trying to keep it away from populated areas. The U.S. Coast Guard was sending a 45-foot vessel to the crash scene after witnesses reported seeing a large plume of smoke in the air, and it did, in fact, crash. Let's see if I can get some more information here as we do this Spencer TV. But I saw the wreckage on the TV, and it crashed on a nearby island. And just flames everywhere in the trees. Very heavily forested areas where we live. And just smoldering and crash site and the flames and everything. Very, very eerie, surreal sight. So that is developing tonight. Alaska Airlines says it is aware of the incident involving the unauthorized takeoff of this Horizon Air plane. And it was apparently stolen by what they are calling a suicidal male who succeeded. He's dead. They're still trying to confirm that no other lives were taken, and we don't know that 100% yet. All right, but they are working on the details of this as more details emerge. In other news on Spencer TV, the cost of living rises at the fastest rate in a decade. This is from thehill.com. The cost of living in the U.S. is rising at its fastest rate in 10 years, according to new data from the Labor Department. The data was released just today. It revealed that consumer prices increased 2.9% in July from the year before, meaning Americans may be earning less than they did at this time last year. The Consumer Price Index, meanwhile, rose 0.2% last month, which analysts largely attributed to rising housing costs. Annual inflation remained unchanged from June's pace at 2.9%. Energy, medical care, and apparel costs dropped in July, while food prices ticked up. Anybody who's done supermarket shopping, especially for a family lately, can tell that food prices are ticking up for sure. Dean Baker, senior economist at the Center for Economic and Policy Research, told CBS News, rising rents remain the source of inflation. This is driven by shortages of housing in desirable markets. Unfortunately, the downward trend in housing construction means that these shortages are unlikely to be addressed on the supply side in the foreseeable future. CBS reported that when adjusted for inflation, average weekly earnings have dropped 0.1% in the past year. And again, I'm hitting refresh here because I'm trying to get the most accurate information for you about this plane that was stolen. They're calling it stolen. I don't know if it's not a hijacking if there aren't passengers on board. Maybe it's not a hijacking per se, but they're calling it a stolen plane. You don't hear that very often. Some sad news in the world of pop culture. I grew up watching Star Trek, was never a huge Star Trek fan, but used to love watching it on TV. Well, Lieutenant Uhura, played by Nichelle Nichols, okay, she was one of the female characters on the show, and she has reportedly been diagnosed with dementia. According to Nichelle Nichols' conservatorship documents obtained by TMZ, the actress, 85 years old, has moderate progressive dementia. Per the documents, Dr. Meena Makijani has been treating Nichols for the past several years, saying she has a major impairment of her short-term memory and moderate impairment of understanding abstract concepts, sense of time, place, and immediate recall. There's no apparent impairment, however, when it comes to Nichols' long-term memory, orientation of her body, comprehension, verbal communication, concentration, recognition of familiar people, as well as ability to reason logically and plan actions, the report claimed, citing these documents. A representative for Nichols did not immediately respond to requests for comment. In 2015, Nichols, who is best known for playing Lieutenant Uhura in Star Trek, was rushed to a hospital after reportedly suffering a mild stroke. We wish Nichelle Nichols, we wish her the best. Dementia is a very ugly disease, and it afflicts way too many people. Hopefully there'll be a cure for this. You know, Alzheimer's and everything else. Hopefully they will have a cure for this by the time my kids are grown. I'm hoping. I don't know in my lifetime that they will, but hopefully they will. I have mentioned, I think I mentioned it on Facebook, Ben Shapiro challenging this socialist, just dolt, I think, this socialist liberal out of New York, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who I call her the deer in the headlights. She just always has the deer in the headlights look. Conservative commentator Ben Shapiro responded today to accusations by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez that he catcalled her in his debate challenge, arguing she didn't want to come across as being afraid. This is so ridiculous. Here's what Ben Shapiro did. He offered $10,000 to put into her campaign. He's an ultra-conservative guy. He's willing to put $10,000 into the pockets of the political enemy, so to speak. And all she has to do is debate him, and she won't do it. In an exclusive interview with Fox News' Trish Regan, Shapiro was asked for his thoughts on his debate offer being compared to catcalling by the House candidate. While quipping that catcalling must be very weird in Queens, Shapiro accused people on the left of using a defense in which anybody who requests a discussion or a debate must be evil by their very nature. He said, it's catcalling because I guess if I suggest that I want to have a conversation, I'm demanding a response. Well, every request is a request. All she had to say here was, nah, that wouldn't be fine. I mean, she's got that prerogative. In a video posted Wednesday in which Shapiro mocked Democratic National Committee Chairperson Tom Perez for labeling the New York congressional candidate the future of the Democratic Party, he offered to donate $10,000 to her campaign. All she had to do was accept an offer to debate him. She won't do it. Why? Because socialism is indefensible. You can only defend the indefensible so much, and only to like-minded people like CNN and MSNBC and CNBC and ABC and NBC and all the alphabet networks. They are so just over the top open to all this insanity of socialism and the Democratic Party in America that they don't challenge her. Ben Shapiro would actually challenge her, and she's not used to it. Liberals do not like debate. They just don't, because they cannot, when they put it right there in front of everybody, they cannot justify their beliefs. They really can't. There's no logic behind liberal belief. 90% of liberal belief is like, cuckoo, cuckoo. It's really kind of nutso stuff. It really is. And it's indefensible. It's all emotion driven. It's all emotion driven. Ben Shapiro gets emotional, but he's intellectually driven. Liberals generally, no offense, they tend to run on emotion. That's their fuel. Conservatives, by and large, although it may only pertain to 75% of conservatives, they run on intellect, they run on reason, they run on logic and common sense. I'd say easily 75% of liberals run on emotion. They get so emotional, they get so reactive about something that they're not using, frankly, their brains, the logical part of their brain, to ascertain a situation, to make their opinions into laws that affect everybody. Just none of it makes any sense. It's all emotion driven, in my opinion. Well, there you have it. Again, the big story today is this Horizon airplane that was that crashed. A suicidal 29-year-old, apparently a mechanic, he's being called, at SeaTac Airport, stole a commercial airliner, albeit one of the smaller ones, but still a commercial airliner, and it crashed so close to where we live that my wife and our son, Bob, my wife Sarah, heard it. They heard it crash. So that's a little too close for comfort. Even though it was a couple of islands away, I don't know how the sound travels and things like that, but they heard this deep kind of guttural, like, coming from the ground. And they're convinced, because based on the timing of this crash, it's exactly down to the moment when they heard this. They were out front of the house just sitting down after a hard day's work around the house. They were just kind of taking it easy, and they heard that sound. They both said, like, what was that? Was that thunder? No thunder in the area tonight. That was the sound of this plane crashing. And more details will be ahead on the news, locally and nationally. This is making news all over the country now. I'm Spencer Hughes. This has been Spencer TV from Mason County, Washington. I thank you very much for watching.